What is up, everyone? This is the Quantum Anomaly coming at you with another episode of WIP-Lash. This is build log number 7 on the Razorthorn, and I've got a lot to show off today. I am actually off work this week, so I've been getting a lot done. We'll start off with stuff that I'm not so impressed with, and then we'll move to the stuff that I am much happier about. So, as I did in the last episode, I'd moved these engines up, and I spent some time, a lot of time, a ridiculous amount of time, reconfiguring and redoing the glowing area back behind it, only to find out that when they're at this 45 degree on a 45 angle, ice does not work properly. And I don't know, it could also be because I've been messing with my lighting settings a lot, and now I can't get them back to the way they were originally. So I need to play around with that some more and see what happens if I do different configurations of ice. I would also like to, instead of doing this as like a square kind of 45 on 45, I should probably do circles and take it all the way back. I was going to do some nifty bits, kind of in the corners with, to make the engine kind of square in a circle sort of thing. I don't know if I like it or not. So I will be messing around with that in the future and seeing where I can go with that. Now, as we move inside, we got a whole bunch of stuff going on. First and foremost, I re-wedged these and remade these circular pieces on the end of the engine probably, I think, 3 times over the course of like an hour and a half, 2 hours. Not 100% dedicated. I think we were watching a movie at the same time. But still, it's not perfect. It's not exactly how I want it to be. Actually, there's 2 different styles of wedging going on. But for the most part, it looks all right, and it does the job. So I'm pretty much going to leave it alone for now and come back to it later. I also have this little bit installed, which is the kind of the engineering area, like command center for the engineering bay. It does have the core inside of it now as well, and I'm starting to put in some catwalks. I don't know if I'm going to enclose these and make them hallways or leave it open and make them catwalks, because I kind of like having a lot of open space. Even though it doesn't make it as efficient as a combat ship, I like having the open space. Up here, we've got this kind of viewing area, so you can keep an eye on the fusion core from the core. I'll probably do some computers and bits, and it'll be a good spot to have a chair, and this will be like the chief engineer station, and that'll be right in front of the core, so that'll look good there. Got these catwalks over to be able to perform maintenance on the engines. Might do a little station with some computers or something over there. Who knows? And then this catwalk comes over and takes you to the first of the gravity tubes, and this will speed you over to the hangar and the pilot's quarters and the maintenance bay for the fighters. As well as just being kind of nifty. I'm probably going to do a few different sets of gravity elevators and some rail elevators, which we have over here back at the end of the engineering bay. I have this little spot just kind of marked for now for an elevator. It'll come up here to the second level of catwalks, and these catwalks go up and over to the private quarters, the nice quarters, which I have opened up a little bit and give them a little bit more viewing space. And then this catwalk also comes over to this area, which is one of the upper portions here. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that, but it too will have a gravity tube going up to the front up there. And just opening some spaces up. Don't know if I'm going to put much in there or not. Might end up being mostly systems. But if we come back to the engineering area, then there is this elevator, and it will come straight up into the command center of the ship. And this, of course, is the large ellipsoid dome at the top of the ship. I have some incredibly awesome plans for all kinds of sweet logic bits. I'm actually going to do away with the light bridge and put in an actual extending bridge so that unwary players, can't assault the bridge very easily. But on top of that, I've got some really, really cool ideas for how I want this to work. It's going to take me quite a bit of time to get that done. So going back down and into the engineering area, still have a couple more things to show off here. First, we'll go ahead and go up here, and I've done some logic work on the core beam, so now it does one full rotation and then fires the beam and then goes back to rotation. Just a little quality of life enhancement, makes it look a little bit nicer. It keeps it from the beam just firing whenever, and I keyed all that off with a pretty hefty set of delay beams, or delay modules, an ore block, and then when the rail stops, it sends a logic pulse to the wireless module that pulses the laser, which then delays to reset the whole thing, and then it fires back into the delay blocks to fire off the rotator again, and it'll go for a full circle. So I like that a lot. That was really fun to do, and it looks a lot nicer. I've also got the top of this piece here domed out a little bit and set up so that I can make it look a little bit nicer and flesh the rest of that out as well. A little bit of work on the hanger bays, put in some hazard stripes, and did a little bit of work on the underflooring in there as well, mostly because the largest area that I have worked on is actually underneath the core area here. We have filled in this bottom part with one of my first bits of interior for this place, and here they are. These are some nice little cryo chambers. Got some ice crystal on the top and the bottom, glass and plex door on them, and blue crystal armor on the sides, and then just some yellow hull and some lighting to bring it all out. Now, I am a little disappointed. Again, lighting issues. The wedges up top are gray, standard gray hull. The top of the cryopods here is actually white hull, but you really can't tell a difference unless the blocks are right next to each other, which one is which. And that's a little, again, gray hull on the bottom and white hull for the sides here, and it's just not showing. I did some, I don't know if this is the top one, okay. I did have extra lighting up here, but then there was too much lighting, and you got this hyper white reflection that you see here. It was just way too bright in this area, so I went ahead and gave up. I may mess around with it. I think it's all in my lighting settings, but there's actually 8 rows, or yeah, 8, sideways here. They go 12 deep, and then they're also 3 tall. So there are 288 cryopods on this vessel right now. So, probably like a third of the crew can be in stasis at any time. I'm not sure, the total numbers of crew for here yet. I'm going to be putting in little control areas for each floor. So you have kind of cryo control, and then these walkways go up. Another cryo control area, another walkway, and another cryo control area. So you can see this is actually starting to flesh out the size of the ship now. This is we're of course coming back behind the fusion core now, and you can see just how deep these guys, it looks awesome. I love it. And I mean, yeah, it's a little bit plain, it's a little bit repetitive, but I did do some spaced armor around it so that I will have access for systems to run through there, and just general space. I'll be capping off the back wall here, but I left it open just because this view is really nice. I like being able to see just all the rows of cryopods. That makes me really happy. Additionally, we have some work on the outside and on the bottom of the ship. So make sure I don't run into anything here. So you can see now that this area, this front trunk piece, I've extended back some. I'll probably be extending it almost all the way back. I'm not sure, or just up to there. I don't know. I'm also adding some pieces to break up. All of these side plates are new and are going to be adding more space and room to the main ship instead of just what was this small hallway here. It was all that was there. Now we've got all of this extra stuff, and it's helping blend it out some. From the front, I still think it's a little bit square. Of course, this is just barely even, is not really even a full first pass, but I'll be widening out the front on the bottom as well and adding some more shape to it. Again, just breaking up the visuals, putting smaller blocks on top of big blocks to kind of break the eye up a little bit. And these will also serve as, let's see, I think it's right here we can cut in. Yeah, so we have the cryopods here, and then we have these big bays on the side, these guys here. I think at least a portion of this is going to be dedicated to medical, because I want to have medical close to cryo, because that makes sense that if a bunch of people come out of cryo sleep, they're going to want to get checked over, get a quick exam before they, report for duty. So we still have tons and tons of room for crew quarters and, the associated like lunch areas and rec rooms, and we'll need a briefing room for sure. Oops, flying inside the wall there. Gotta love that. Gets a little bit tight in some of these spaces. It's a little bit difficult to maneuver while I'm building sometimes. I did also start fleshing out, let's see, I did a whole bunch of wedging, of which a lot of it I'm probably going to tear apart because I already built over it down here on this bottom corner. But I did use a copy-paste technique down here and filled that in. Made it a lot easier. It's easier to remove the extra block from the inside from a copy and paste than it is to just do it all manually by hand. So I filled that in. I also built these, there they are, these little cover pods, and they will be for where all of the logic-y bits for the extending pieces come in to nestle, snuggle up in that little corner there. It also, again, breaks the eye up some. Haven't yet decided exactly what I'm going to do with, where all of these pieces are going to angle and everything. I'm still kind of uncertain about that. And wedging is one of those things where you tackle a chunk of it and then you move to something else and come back later, because at least I cannot sit there and wedge an entire ship. That's just ridiculous. I gotta bounce around and do 2 or 3 different things at once. So, yep, I don't know when I'm going to do my other pass on the engines. Like I said, I'm really frustrated with them right now, and I just kind of want to leave them alone. That's why I was working on some interior stuff, changing it up, doing something different, and I really like where this is going so far. I like these catwalks. I like the visibility, even though it's not going to leave me as much room for systems. It's not just going to be a giant battleship death brick with a single hole for a pilot. At the same time, I think it's going to provide some really awesome role-playing features. It's going to feel really, really cool. So, and that's what it's all about, right? I mean, I like building my ships for at least, not like realism, but at least purpose. And this is definitely a multi-role battleship. I mean, it's, being able to be cross-configured with all different kinds of, configurations and setups and pieces that you can drop in and change the way the actual functions of the ship. It's got to have a lot of support systems in it for crew management and all that good stuff. Yeah, so that is pretty much all the progress for today, but it's been a really productive day so far, and it's still a little bit early, so we'll see where I get through the rest of the night and on into tomorrow and the rest of this week, and make as much progress as I can for this week, because after this week I'm going to be slowing down quite a bit with the holidays coming up. So, for everybody out there who is following, I appreciate it. It's nice to see you guys comment, and I'm willing to chat about anything. If there's anything specific you want to see me add to the ship or do with the ship, or if you have any suggestions about, how it looks or what I'm doing, feel free to comment. I have no problem taking criticism on this thing. I'm no master builder, so yeah, go ahead and comment, like, subscribe, do whatever you like, and for everybody else out there, keep building.